Hi, welcome to the recap for episodes 2 and 3 of Girl Party, a fantasy isekai comedy adventure. In Chapter 1, the party was facing an onslaught of angry, horny goblins. Now, in episodes 2 and 3, we flash back to see how the party came to be on the beach, swarmed by goblins in the first place. Episode 2 starts with James prepping a character sheet for a night of role-playing. He is something of an expert at Lords and Labyrinths, the fantasy role-playing game they are going to be playing. It's similar to Pathfinder or Dungeons & Dragons. James, who goes by Jimmy in the real world, is creating an NPC that he intends to use as his character to guide the others on the adventure. He intends to be the game master. He remembers how his younger sister Sharon has been bugging him to play for a long time. Up until now, he had mostly avoided it because of her tendency to go over the top with anime references, and her frequent claims of magical powers and abilities not normally allowed in the game. Tonight, they would be playing a box set module that Sharon had gotten online. It was called The Curse of Chimera Isle. It was supposed to be special, with no need for a game master, only players. Someone had sent it to her for free, with one condition: she had to play it as it was meant to be played. Jimmy was having none of that though. He was glad he had previewed it too. He found that it had a lot of very mature content he intended to water down. Downstairs, his sister Sharon and their mother were already preparing to play. Sharon had convinced their mother Molly and his best friend Clarence to join the game, hoping to lure Jimmy in. But it wasn't until she promised that Angela, the girl from down the street that Jimmy had a crush on, would be coming too, that he finally agreed to play. With a storm starting to rage outside, Clarence arrived. Jimmy learned that Clarence had created a female character, a wizard, named Claire. This meant that aside from Jimmy's NPC companion, the rest of the party would all be female characters. A girl party. Sharon shared that her character, Shayla, was an Elven Priestess of Halia, the goddess of love. Molly revealed she would be playing a sexy rogue with a questionable past, something that got Clarence very interested, which didn't make Jimmy happy. Just when Jimmy was starting to think the storm might keep Angela from showing up, there was a knock at the door. Angela had arrived. Episode 1 ends with all of the characters at the house ready to play Lords and Labyrinths. In Episode 2, they sit down to begin. Jimmy shares that his character's name is Sir James. Angela hears that and immediately assumes that, because of the Sir title, James is a knight. He's not. He had made a character who was a bard but noble-born. Although he went by Sir James, he was actually a roguish minstrel who dabbled in magic. Angela didn't know that. She got so excited, talking about how they could do knight things together and how he could teach her his ways, that Jimmy blindly agreed. He loved the idea of being her knight companion, even if he normally never played a knight. He made plans to discreetly adjust his character sheet before their second session and sat down to play. Before he could begin, Sharon pointed out that the rules said they were all supposed to poke their thumbs with the tack provided in the box, and put their bloody thumbprints on their character sheets. It was a rule that came with this particular box set, but was not standard for the game. Jimmy had planned to skip it, but once it had been mentioned, the others got excited. They all ended up poking their thumbs and marking their character sheets. They all pledged their souls to complete the mission. Jimmy thought it was just to create a spooky atmosphere. After that, they settled in to play. Jimmy began to describe how there was a terrible storm at sea. They were all aboard a galleon, sailing on the crusade to liberate Rifan, also known as Chimera Isle. The storm outside their house grew worse, and the power flickered. Jimmy described how they saw another ship floundering, about to crash into their own. Then everything went dark, but for real. When Jimmy awoke, he found himself on a sandy beach. It was daytime, and wooden wreckage littered the shoreline. He wasn't himself. He noticed that he was bigger, older, dressed differently. He had a weapon at his side, a sword, a dagger on the other side. Then he heard the words, "I've found him." There was a pink-haired elf behind him. It took a moment, but he recognized his sister's character, the one from the game. "Sharon?" he asked. "Shayla," she corrected him. Then he heard other voices. His mother and Clarence were approaching. Only, it wasn't his mother, or Clarence. It was Molly, the sexy rogue, and Claire, the scandalously dressed wizard. The world spun. "There he goes again," was the last thing Jimmy heard before passing out. Thank you for joining us for this recap of Girl Party Episode 2, Adventurers Assemble, and Episode 3, A Sudden Storm. Episode 4, They're Coming, is currently available on Manic Animation YouTube. Also check out our song that goes with Chapters 2 and 3, the self-titled Girl Party track, also on Manic Animation YouTube. Please like and subscribe, and check back regularly for new chapters and songs. Visit us on Patreon at Manic Animation for exclusive content and to see how you can help bring the band back home.